mic mute? Yes. Yes, everybody.
Yes, sir. Just a second, sir. I think.
From central control, you mute all speakers.
Yes, sir. I think it's muted now.
Now I think it is okay. Great. So,
Yes, sir. Sorry.
with this introduction, let us proceed. We been a Vishwaguru, and again we are attempting to be. It's time of 21st century, which is being proclaimed as the time of India, Bharat. These are the classifications of ecosystems as done by United Nations. 8 categories. Begins with farmlands, forests, fresh waters, grasslands, mountains, oceans, peatlands, and urban areas. If we integrate these all together, it represents Mother Earth or overall globe as a whole. I'm sure most of you may be aware that present decade is being celebrated by United Nations as the decade of ecosystems restoration. Now, why the decade of ecosystem restoration? What happened to ecosystems? We will briefly just go through. So, coming to ecosystems, the pre-industrial era, which is time period prior to 1770, had a dynamic equilibrium of biodiversity and ecosystems. They were living hand in hand, or they were healthy to their best. Human communities coexisted with diverse ecosystems, relying on the abundance of plant and animal life for sustenance. Now we find a scarcity of these resources. Further to it, let us look into how energy systems and industrialization evolved. So as I have mentioned, journey began with 1770 and is termed as the first industrial revolution or 1.0 industry. During this period, the driving force used to be power from hydraulic sources, water streams, and to some extent, use of coal also began, and coal and water together converted into steam, they just came into existence. Industry 1 lasted for 130 years. That means pace of change was extremely slow. Developments were at very slow pace. Industry phase 2 began in the year 1900 after 130 years of industry phase 1. During industry phase 2, mass production, assembly lines, and usage of electricity started. In the beginning phase of electricity usage, most of the production used to be from hydro and steam. Industry 3, which began in 1970, and in fact, I have witnessed Industry 3 onwards. So Industry 2 lasted for 70 years, Industry 1 for 120 years, Industry 3, during this period, computerization and automation, they began, and it lasted for 30 years. Industry 4, which began on turn of century, year 2000s, it's been about early phases of cyber physical systems, internet, and then they have grown and matured during this period, and now we are using them at their best. Now, this is a time of Industry 4 and 5 transition. As we are talking about energy transition, this is industrial transition, Industry 4 to Industry 5. Industry 5 is about mass customization and cyber physical systems, cognitive systems, artificial intelligence, data science, and many more. They are evolving. So point to note is the pace of change. Industry 1 lasted for 130 years, 2 for 70 years, 3 for 30 years, industry 4, say, plus 20 years, and industry 5 may last for 10 plus years or so. So industrialization up to industry phase 4 was always leading to increase in employment, except the introduction of computer, when it was in fact feared that manpower requirement in industry may drastically be reduced, but it did not happen. And in fact, during this transition from industry 4 to industry 5, requirement of manpower, not only numbers, but intelligence, it is going to be at hyper scale, and industry 4 and 5 transition is leading to many out-of-box changes. During industry 4, focus used to be on connecting machines. During this transition phase, focus is on delivering customer experience. Industry 4 was about mass customization. Now it is hyper customization. Industry 4 used to be about intelligent supply chains. Now it is about responsive and distributed supply chains. Smart products, they are shifting towards experience-activated interactive products. And manpower was distancing from factories earlier, but now return of intelligent people that is additionally required in every field of life. So with this, industry 4 was about producing more and more. Industry 5 is about producing new and different. Let's look into what happened and what our former president, Dr. Kalam, he mentioned about environment and the society. A clean, green environment is the pillar stone to happy and healthy society. Very powerful quote. And then we came one more step forward during previous decade, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Ek kadam swachhta ki or. During this period, see the change. The program led to the construction of over 10 crore individual household toilets, taking sanitation coverage, which used to be less than 40% in 2014, in 5 years' time, it is said to be nearing 100%. So see the change and pace of change. We just look into the background, how electrical sources have evolved. So the first generating station in India was set up in the year 1897, and it was set up at Sidnapur, which is in Darjeeling. It used to be 2 into 65 kilowatt hydro stations. On left side, we see what used to be the overall setup of machines and the building itself. That still exists today. Is not operational, but it is symbolically maintained. Now we have progressed from this scale to our largest Tehri hydropower station, which we see here, is a 2,400 megawatt. And overall, as on time, we have 46,928 megawatt hydro capacity. About coal stations, first coal station of 22.5 megawatt was set up on the bank of Hyderabad Lake. Now, we have the latest power station, ultra modern, I will say, the largest in our country is NTPC Vindhyachal Power Station, which is in Sindhi district of Madhya Pradesh, is 4760 megawatt coal stations, 8 megawatt hydro stations, about 60 megawatt solar stations, and many more special features. So, up to now, our existing capacity is 2,17,590 megawatt on the fuel, coal as a fuel. About nuclear power stations, we began with 1969 journey in nuclear field with 2 units of 210 megawatt. Now we are already operating indigenous designed and perfectly performing units of 700 megawatt, The recent one were installed in Karnataka, that is Kakrapar, during year 2023, and installed operational capacity on nuclear in our country is 8180 megawatt. Further, with all these backgrounds, India is the third largest consumer and producer of electricity in the world. We have 269 thermal power stations operational. We have 197 hydropower stations, which accounts for 1,48,700 megawatt hydro potential. This is overall hydro potential. With 197 hydropower stations, we have exploited 46,800 megawatt, which is less than 1/3 of potential. We are having 800 wind power plants operational. We have 40 solar power plants, each of more than 10 megawatt capacity. If we account all solar systems, they are going to run in millions. Capacity on solar increased from 21,651 megawatt to 84.6 gigawatt, 21,651 megawatt to 84.6 gigawatt during last 20 years. We have 24 nuclear power reactors which are operational in the country with a total installed capacity as 8180 megawatt. We have 12 operational and 8 non-operational waste to energy plants in 10 states. We have 529 operational sugar factories which co-generate energy and feed to energy grid. We have solar irrigation pumps in lakhs which are going to become millions. We have rooftop solar systems integrated in the grid which are already more than 1 million. They are going to multiply under Pradhan Mantri Har Ghar Saur Yojana to many times in these 5 years. So here data science and data edge power, they in fact are playing the backbone role in integrating all these sources and making grid reliable, healthy, and sustainable. Now, if we just have a glance of our country, these are the various sources and countrywide number of overall coal stations, hydro stations, and nuclear stations. The coal stations are black, the red are nuclear, and blue are hydro. Along with we see there are 5 colors in the map. The top one, northern part, light greenish, is northern grid. The middle yellowish or golden is western grid. The lower one, white portion, is southern grid. The eastern part, bluish portion, is eastern grid. And the orange part, northeastern grids. So we have 5 regional grids, and these are now integrated. Energy can flow from any point to any point without any restriction. So that's the development of our country energy systems. Herein, these are the power stations in northern region. So I'm trying just to give you a brief overall how our physical systems are in the field of energy. Herein comes the western part, the power stations in western part, the southern part. Finally, we go to eastern part and then northeastern parts. So put together statistics, I have already briefed in the beginning how many we have different types. Now, these stations, they contributed tremendously in increasing the installed capacity in our country, integrating all sources together, and our installed capacity today stands 446 gigawatt, which was during year 2009-10, 160 gigawatt. So pace of change and increasing trend, if we see last 5 years, is mostly driven by renewables energy. And we are coming to this point very focused way. Now, why this improvement in installed capacity and its utilization is required? It is required for being sustainable in all the way. And one of the major driving force for sustainability is commercial sustainability, that is export and import. So if we look into our GDP growth for last 10 years, here comes the pattern. We see that in absolute terms, US dollar trillions, in fact, our here it is given in billions, it becomes 3.94 trillions. It is doubled in the last 10 years. And in next 5 years, it is predicted to double again. We have become from fifth to third. Now we have become from 10th GDP to third GDP during this period. Next 5 years, we are going to become third GDP globally. So if we see year-wise, COVID period came a boon to us. During COVID period, our GDP became negative, but we bounced back in such a way. Then onwards, we are leading all major economies, including G20 countries globally, achieving year after year the highest GDP growth. This year, again, our growth is projected by international all bodies, whether we call the World Economic Forum, World Bank and all, the highest globally. It is helping in improving the import-export imbalance. Herein comes the import, which are orange columns, and the export, which are green columns. So if we see year-wise, our exports are improving, our relatively imports are reducing. As a result, gap between import and export, what we say as the deficit, trade deficit, is reducing. And here comes the overall strength of our country, which is driven by energy sector. Without energy in today's modern world, nothing works. So energy is essential input for overall sustainability in all the areas of human activities. Just a sum up where we stand at present. So population-wise, we have become globally the largest populated country at first position. Our GDP is growing continuously, the best one among G20 or major economies. Entrepreneurship ranking, this is wonderful, and improvement have become from 36 to second in period of 10 years. So we are second best globally in terms of entrepreneurship, which is reflected by our startup ecosystem becoming the globally third largest. We are startup globally third largest. CCPI is Climate Change Performance Index, which is indicator of sustainability. We are fourth in absolute terms. We are seventh among 59 countries. So top 3 ranks are in fact kept blank. No one is assigned rank 1, 2, 3 because none of the country is yet doing their business activities in such a way that temperature rise is limited to 1.5 degrees centigrade. That's why top 3 ranks are blank. We are in absolute terms fourth. 3 countries above us, they are smaller than put together our state of Madhya Pradesh in terms of area geographically or the population. That indicates that many of our states are wonderfully doing well and they are performing as leader in global ecosystems. Our economy is 5th largest globally. Energy efficiency ranking now is being done. We are at 16th among 25 countries just rated up to now. And here comes the opportunities for application of data science to contribute greatly in improving the energy efficiency of processes, practices, and the equipments, as well as the decision taking. Sustainability rank is 36th out of 48 countries ranked. Here again is lot of scope for data science to come forward. In fact, it is happening and playing positive role. Our ESG rank, which is another indicator of sustainability, is 56th out of 63 countries. Our government has come out with mandatory legislation for stock exchange listed top 1,000 organizations by their capitalization value to mandatorily report on Opal platforms their performance in Indian customized model, which is termed as BRSR, is business responsibility and sustainability reporting. So focus of our government and Indian organization is shifting from profitability to prosperity. That means focus is now balancing on people, planet, and profitability. Further to it, SDG rank, Sustainable Development rank, we are at 112th out of 163 countries. Tremendous role is here for data science to contribute. Energy and environment, the global priorities, these are the two focus areas, and every year in G7 countries, G20 countries meetings, and COP meetings, that is Conference of Parties, these two issues are prominent top-rated agenda points wherein global leaders, they are reviewing and reconfirming their revised commitments. International Solar Alliance is a unique contribution by India and France together. Now there are 111 countries who are member of International Solar Alliance, and India is the headquarter. NTPC, in fact, is the secretariat, and India is greatly contributing, popularizing solar energy in member countries world over. International Yoga Day is another unique contribution for sustainability through enriching the health aspects. One sun, one grid, and one world. This is again concept given by India, which is accepted globally. We know that sun rises and sets relative to specific places. If one world we are talking, globe as a whole, then it never rises and never sets. That means solar energy is available 24/7, and if we can integrate all countries together, globe as a whole in one grid, then solar energy will be contributing tremendously. And that is the concept which is accepted worldwide. Now, mission life. I'm sure many of you must be aware. In your campus programs must also be taking. Many of you must have taken the oath also. It aims to focus on our own day-to-day activities as citizen and live for the environment instead of just being a commercial entity. International Year of Millets, which was celebrated 2023. It was again initiative of India. We are the second most millet producing country. Shortly, we are going to become number one. There are more than 1,500 startups which had come in a period of less than 1 year focused on millets, and these millets are now becoming international commodity. India, Middle East, Europe. This is outcome of G20 meeting held in Delhi last year. India, Middle East, Europe economic and energy corridor. It is also going to open up many avenues for data science. I have already in the beginning itself mentioned that the ongoing decade is the ecosystem restoration decade, and it offers limitless opportunities for data science professionals. Now, again, where we are going to lead in near future. So here we find what is the overall plan of our country, what actually we are as on now, 2024-25 in the month of June. July data are not yet available. Up to June, it is fully updated. We have 446 gigawatt installed capacity, which is going to be 6.09 terawatt or 609 gigawatt in 2026-27 and again to more than 900 gigawatt in year 2031 and 32. Here we can see the tremendous change is coming from renewables, not that much from conventional. Though overall there is increase, but increase greatly is being contributed by solar, which is increasing from 85 gigawatt to 365 gigawatt, wind from 46 gigawatt to 122 gigawatt. Small hydro will continue as it is. Biomass is 10 gigawatt to 15.5 gigawatt, and so on. So renewables, they are taking the central stage. This is the pattern of capacity growth globally. So here we see in a decade period, this growth is almost double. But what we have seen, our capacity have already tripled, more than tripled in previous decade. And it is going to again become more than double in remaining period up to 2030, that is 6+ years. So fossil fuel, they are in the background which have badly damaged the ecosystem. And since energy requirement globally were growing exponentially 1980 onwards during last plus 40 years, here in country-wise, these are the patterns, exploitation of fossil fuels. This is especially for coal. China holds the top spot as the world's largest fossil fuel producer. During previous decade, China has used more coal than the rest of the world put together. So more than 50% coal was used only in China. United States is a dominant player in both oil and natural gas production and usage. So they have shifted away from coal to large extent, but again, natural oil and natural gas, they are also the dirty fuels. They also produce greenhouse gases. India is the third most energy producing and energy using country globally. Energy was already a hot topic before 2022. I can say that is pre-pandemic or during pandemic period, but soaring household energy bills and a cost of living crisis has brought it even more to the forefront. And this is specific to USA and Europe. If you see 2022 onwards, energy prices have tripled in UK and USA. So this is basically the scenario. That much change, adverse change has not happened in our country. If we see as on now, about plus 75% primary energy use is from fossil fuels. Oil is contributing most at global scale, 31.6%, followed by coal, 27%, natural gas, 22%, nuclear is less than 5%, hydro, 2.6%, wind, etc. is 2.6%, biofuels and waste together, they are 9.5%. So this is, as on now, energy use globally. If we talk renewables energy usage, we stands, our renewable score is the best at third place. Best is USA with 7, Brazil is 6.5, we are 6.3, and I'm sure by this year end, we are going to overtake Brazil and become number 2. Now, this usage of fossil fuel is leading to increase in concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and they are badly affecting the overall ecosystems and global environment as a whole. During 1960s, greenhouse gases concentration in atmosphere used to be 317 ppm, which during this June have reached to 426 ppm, recording an increase of more than 35%. And this is the sole reason which is driving the atmospheric temperatures, and it has become a crisis. These are the latest available values, 4 to 5.83 is the highest CO2 average in human history, which is recorded during the month of June. And during last year, the global temperature rise is 1.44 degrees centigrade, which is targeted to be limited to 1.5 degrees centigrade. That means margin available is just 0.06 degrees centigrade. So with this background, let us look into further, and this is the temperature profile data are available 1850 onwards up to now. It indicates temperature being always fluctuating, and the trend indicate that trend, though it was increasing, but up to 1970s, increase was not steep, which then onwards has become very steep, and we are facing lot of repercussions because of it. What really is the present scenario? The gone decade 2011-2022 is the hottest decade recorded on Earth. The last 11 years, they are the hottest years in history. 2023, last year, is the hottest year up to now in human history, which was followed by 2016, 2020, 2019, and 22. They tied up 2017, 2015, 2011, 2018, 2014, and finally comes 2010 and 2013 again tied up. So 2010 onwards, you see what has happened globally. And this is the reason we are facing lot of issues globally. They are in the form of cloudbursts. They are leading to abrupt floods. Floods we are experiencing in Rajasthan, which used to be the driest state. Jaipur is flooded like not seen anywhere else. This year itself, 2024, the first 6 months, each month recorded the highest ever temperature respectively. That means 2024 is going to be the hottest year, again surpassing 2023. So we are leading to very uncomfortable period. Survival is already of humankind under question. It's already getting too late if global communities together do not act with approach of limiting these repercussions resulting into havoc. So coming to sustainability. Sustainability is a social goal that broadly aims for humans to safely coexist on planet Earth over a long, long time, what we have seen in initial slides. The 4 pillars of sustainability are human sustainability, social sustainability, economic sustainability, and environmental sustainability. So let us look into what really has happened. These are 4 quadrants in other way, which defines and measures the sustainability. They are ecology, culture, governance or politics we say, and economics or business. So these 4 major quadrants, each of them have 7 elements. And each of the element is scored on a scale of 10. So here we observe the quadrant 1 is about ecology, and its score is less than 50%, 31 out of 70. So deterioration is by 39 points, more than 50%. The most deteriorated areas are emission and waste management. Maybe many of you are aware that among the top 100 most polluted cities, 83 cities now are Indian cities. That means we are the most polluted country now. The second one is scarcity of materials and energy. The third one is water and air. The fourth one is habitat and food. These are scoring from 0.2 for emission and waste, that is deterioration 80%, material and energy deterioration or shortages or constraints deterioration is by 70%, water and air deterioration is 60%, habitat and food deterioration is again 60%, and this is the basically region which is with 44% is score is causing global, these are all score at global scenario, global issues as far as sustainability is the topic. Cultural issues, though there are deteriorations, but deteriorations still are up to 30%. Overall score is 83%. Governance, overall score 77%. Deterioration is up to 40%. That means least score is 6 out of 10. Likewise, business and economics score is 76%. Least score again being 60%. Deterioration 40%. So with this state of affairs, as far as sustainability is the focus, it is reflecting. We will look into its causes. We will see the effects and the impacts of such a scenario. So the causes are rapid industrialization, exploiting energy usage at rampant scale, agricultural practices continuing to be very old, deforestation at faster pace for the requirement of agricultural land and the resettlement of population, consumer practices not caring for environment, livestock shortages leading to various issues. Transportation is now the most polluting segment of industrialization, and resources extraction, which is deteriorating the quality of Mother Earth and leading to various issues, and pollution we have already discussed about. Next, coming to what are the effects of these causes? They are rising temperatures. We have seen what is the scenario we are now living. Unpredictable weather patterns we are experiencing this year increasingly than ever before in India and world over. Deforestation, land degradation, rising sea levels. It is predicted that if sea level continue to rise the way it is seen rising during last 10 years for next 10 years, many of our coastal areas will be submerged, including some areas in Mumbai as well. Extreme weather events, even Chennai also, many areas. Extreme weather events, loss of biodiversity, and loss of wildlife. So these are the various effects. Finally, they are impacting poverty. Government is working its best to contain it in India, but world over, that's not the scenario. Hunger, many countries are facing food shortages, not in India. Food and water shortages are being experienced. Our government took up initiative of Har Ghar Jal Yojana to address this issue of potable quality and quantity, to address shortages, as well as another mission is interlinking the rivers, and then Amrit Sarovar Yojana, which is being executed countrywide at very large scale to address this water shortage issue. Malnutrition, increased diseases, desertification, displacements, and loss of lives. So these are the various causes, effects, and impacts due to deteriorating state of global sustainability. If we look into each area, is presenting tremendous scope for data science to contribute in the process of decision taking, quality of decisions, implementation of projects, and all. I am taking you once again to sustainable vision of a visionary Indian leader. I am sure you can guess. I am talking about Dr. Kalam, what he said. He said, utilize technologies to provide environment-friendly energy, along with cut down energy losses. So that means first point talks about utilization of renewables energy must be enhanced. Second point says energy efficiency must be improved. Energy usage efficiency must be improved. by way of having efficient energy gadgets, equipment, industrial processes and products. Increase power generation from renewables energy, and he himself thought that time target which used to be 5% during 1998-99 when he basically published a book India Vision 2020 which visualized what we should be in 2020. So he targeted 25%. We in fact have exceeded this target. Achieve energy independence by 2030. It is appearing difficult, but our government is trying its best to do it by 2032. So these are the nation's first and highest priorities. Dr. Kalam. Dr. Kalam was a frequent and regular visitor to top-notch institutes, and I am sure he breathed last. You may be all aware, if not, in IIM Shillong. And I was fortunate, December 2023, to stand up on the same dais where Dr. Kalam breathed last. Coming to Sustainable Development Goals, which are global 17 goals aimed at addressing the various impacts we have seen. These goals were accepted during the year 2015 by global leadership, aiming to make them a reality by the year 2030. And the main purpose behind these Sustainable Development Goals was leaving no one behind. That means everyone should get deserving opportunities and play a role positively. These goals are being reviewed every 5 years. They are 17 in numbers. In fact, they are 16. 17th goal is team working, collaboration, and cooperation locally and globally. So that is partnerships to achieve the goals. So with these goals in focus, these goals cannot become a reality if energy is not adequately available to drive various processes and projects which are conceived to achieve these goals. So energy in itself is Sustainable Development Goal 7. It is in the focus of all other 16 goals. As we understand, nothing happens without energy. So number of total projects to make these Sustainable Development Goal achieve their objective by year 2030, till now 13,592 projects are taken up. And purpose remains the same, leave no one behind. With this motive, these are the Sustainable Development Goal by each number of projects taken up to year 2024 up to now. Their numbers taken during the year and cumulative up to now. These are the number of projects taken up and under implementation, or most of them already implemented globally, including India. Now, climate change. Our government of India made 5 commitments to global community during COP, that is Conference of Parties, which was held in Glasgow, United Kingdom, during November 2026. And the 5 commitments we made to raise the non-fossil fuel energy capacity of India to 500 gigawatt by 2030, for which our country is committed, reconfirmed, and working to make it a reality. By 2030, 50% of the country's energy requirement would be met using renewables energy sources. So Dr. Kalam says 25% by 2020. Our target is 50% by 2030. No other country has committed like this. India will reduce the total carbon emission by 1 billion tons between the year, base year was taken 2005 for this target, and 2030. And we are ahead of target on this as well. The carbon intensity of the economy would be reduced to less than 45% by year 2030. So our economy, that real achievement up to now, I will be briefing you, is already more than 35% by now. And by 2030, we are going to yield more than 50% improvement. India would become carbon neutral and achieve net zero emissions by the year 2070. European countries and USA, they have committed year 2050 as carbon neutral. China has committed 2060. We have committed 2070. So these are Panchamrit, 5 commitments of India. Of late, global community is also rising together to the occasion during the celebration of 50th World Environment Day held in Stockholm. These global leaders, they realized a healthy planet for the prosperity of all is our responsibility and our opportunity. So if global leadership, what they say, if it becomes a reality, we are going to have very healthy time to follow. Net zero, what it is in fact? The world can reach net zero emissions by 2050, but it requires major changes as per recent study carried out by United Nations Environment Program. Our energy systems will need to be totally transformed. So focus comes everywhere on energy. The International Energy Agency report, which has come specifically to address net zero by 2050, have summed up. Huge decline in the use of coal, oil, and gas is essential, this report mentions. And these changes could impact the economy, citizens, and governments world over. So that's the prediction. And global target is 2050 to achieve zero emissions. As I have mentioned, China committed 2060 and India committed 2070. I have also mentioned earlier, China is consuming more than 50% coal, but they are also working to reduce their coal consumption seriously. Herein is the picture together putting the scenario for primary fuel usage and transitioning towards green energy. So here the picture is the black portion of bar is usage of coal, red one is oil, green one is renewable energy, orange one is natural gas. So bottom portion black in each column is coal, followed by oil, followed by gases, and then renewable energy. So we see different countries as on now are at different stages. In India, put together coal and oil, almost 80% primary energy comes from these two sources. And parallelly, you may be aware that we are importing coal to the tune of about 10% of our requirement and oil for about 85% of our requirement, equally gas also to 60% of our commercial usage. So our energy dependence is on imports. That's why government is working very seriously to enhance the renewable energy content in energy value chain, so as we can restrict our imports and in fact enhance ecosystem. This is breakup of our installed capacity of 446 gigawatt. 243 gigawatt is thermal based. Thermal is put together coal, lignite, natural gas, and diesel. Hydro is 47 gigawatt. Nuclear is 8.2 gigawatt. Wind is 47 gigawatt. Small hydro stations 5 gigawatt. Biofuels 10.9 gigawatt. And solar is tremendously, it has grown to 86 gigawatt. So this is the present scenario, how energy transition is becoming a reality. As of now, we see 54% contribution is from thermal, 10.5% is from hydro, 1.8% is nuclear, wind is 10.5%, small hydro is contributing 1.1%, biofuels are contributing 2.5%, but solar has tremendously improved. Contribution is now touching 20%. Here it is 19.2%. So put together, what we say, dirty fuels 54.4 and the renewables 45.6. So this is going to become 50% in next 3 years. This is the pattern how our capacity addition in case of renewables have improved. And you see the drastic changes they are continuing. All forms. Bottom portion, dark blue, is solar stations, small hydro stations. Next, green one is wind. Next is golden one is biomass. Then red one in between yellow and golden is waste to energy. And the top one is solar. We have seen in previous slide their percentages. This change in capacity is from 28 gigawatt from 2012-13 to 149 gigawatt. So tremendous change. Last year we added historical highest 18 gigawatt capacity. And this year we are likely to be plus 22 gigawatt. So it's on increase. As a result, herein how energy transition is taking place is happening a reality from dirty fuels to clean and green fuels. In single slide, I have attempted to bring in 15 years. Here what we observe, the initial period, content of dirty fuels was on increase. It increased from 63.9% to 69.7% during March 10 to March 16. March 16 onwards, it is continuously reducing, and June 24, it stands 54.46%. That means in terms of percentage, our dependence on dirty fuel is reducing. Our dependence on renewables and green clean energy is improving. So this is the background of overall scenario, how energy transition is becoming a reality. So I think we are already 8 o'clock. I will be attempting to speed up and sum up in 30 minutes. Will it be okay?
Sure, sir. So
Right.
you can, if like the PPT is like too long, you can like skip to the part which tells about the role of data science.
I am going there only. I am going
Okay,
there.
sir.
I'm just speeding up, right? That's why I mentioned. So herein comes the pattern of last 5 years, how transition in terms of generation has happened. These all figures are in billion units. And in terms of percentage, you see dirty content is reducing year after year. It has reduced from 78% to 71.75%. And renewable energy has increased from 9% to 19%. Again, energy management, herein lies the biggest opportunity. In fact, I can say 30% work is already done. Something on with recording? So, energy management is basically bringing out the tremendous potential for data science to enhance and penetrate in integration of overall energy systems, which are increasing month by month now in thousands. So at national level, National Load Dispatch Center is the overall management of energy countrywide as a whole. There are 5 regional grids. What I have mentioned, there are 32 state load dispatch centers. There are 51 sub-load dispatch centers. That means many of the states, they have more than one load dispatch centers. There are 1,160 remote communication and data processing units. This 30th May is a historical day when our grid experienced the highest peak load, that was 250 gigawatt. And it was wonderfully managed well because of the data science being in the background. Without any trouble, such a variable load Herein what is happening, how it is managed, I will just briefly mention. I will briefly mention that there are 24 hours in a day. Each hour is divided into 4 time blocks, each of 15 minutes. So 96 time blocks are there. These 96 time blocks now, for further improving this efficiency and effectiveness, because of the potential contribution by data science, are under discussion to make them 5 minutes time blocks and 96 time blocks in a day. So this is overall energy contributions from different regions and different sources. So bottommost is nuclear one, followed by the contribution from gas sources. The next one is from wind. You see, everyone is varying and varies second to second. The next one comes hydro. The next is thermal. And overall, yellow one is solar, and topmost is for the day. So these are the overall variations which are being practically managed because of data science being the backbone of systems. Now there are least manual interfaces. Things are done automatically because of data science, and I'm taking you how it is happening. So these are the different contributions in a particular day by various sources of energy, which are nuclear, thermal, hydro, gas, solar, and wind, what I have already narrated. Now, how they are integrated. 5 regions are integrated together through transmission system in Indian national grid. And there are different components in transmission network at different voltage levels. Data science digitization has greatly helped in managing put together countrywide system beautifully. We are having transmission system at 220 kV, and we are also having operational voltage in our country to 800 kV HVDC, 750 kV AC. Globally, if we talk, world highest operating voltage is 1150 kV, though it is termed as 1200 kV, and it is in Russia, a transmission line of 432 kilometers. So one nation, one grid, and one frequency, a dream which has become a reality because of integration of all the 5 grids. Here is the frequency profile of our load curve, and it beautifully brings out the power of data, the power of data science, and before data science, various programs which we are customized, specifically applications developed for this purpose, they are beautifully maintaining, and our country grid, Indian grid, is among the best operating, most efficient grid now globally. So these are the latest infrastructure assets addition in transmission sector, up to 400 kV HVDC, and this is the biggest one switchyard in our country of 800 kV DC, which was executed during year 2018. Now you see the power of data science and digitization. So every scheme is there, whether analog or digital, using digital only. Our national grid backbone is artificial intelligence supported by the data and data science. So countrywide, this is just instantaneous shot I have taken. There are various platforms which are publicly available. One among them, prominent one, is Merit India, which is giving what is happening instantaneously. This shot I took yesterday evening when our national demand was 206 gigawatt. Out of that, 150 gigawatt was from thermal contribution. Gas was contributing 6252, that is 6.2 gigawatt. Nuclear 6.9 gigawatt. Hydro generation was 36.4 gigawatt. And renewable, since it was evening time, it was 7.8 gigawatt. So overall, this is the main backbone of our system. We have 2 systems. One is at New Delhi, that is a National Load Dispatch Center main center, and the backup center is at Kolkata. So 5 regional centers are integrated with a main center at Delhi, having backbone at Calcutta. So data centers, they are now, in fact, driving functioning of every energy node, I will say, every point. And this is digital, the language of present era. This is our NTAMC, that is National Transmission Asset Management Center. And these are the data centers which are operational in our country, supporting the electricity sector as a whole, whether we talk generation, we talk transmission, we talk distribution, we talk metering, we talk commercial issues and aspects. Everywhere, data science is greatly playing, and its role is increasing with time, I can say every day. So, if we just look into, again, a bit detail of it, during the year, Mumbai is having 52% of data centers, and 2021, the data center overall rating was accounting to 565 megawatt, which has become in 3 years more than double to 1,369 megawatt. The most 52% are in Mumbai, 16% in Chennai, 11% in NCR, 8% in Hyderabad, 6% capacity in Bengaluru, 6% in Pune, and other than these places put together, there are scars. So national grid, as we have seen how overall power stations are operating, these are the overall national transmission network. Our transmission network is one of the largest globally, which measures 220 kV and above lines, 4,81,326 circuit kilometers. And the installed capacity, transformation capacity for transmission system is 12,25,260 gigawatt. So these are the very big numbers, cannot function smoothly without data science being in the backbone. Now, renewable energy management projects are executed at 11 locations, and these are in 3 areas. That is Renewable Energy Management Center in Southern region, which is integrating together Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Southern Regional Load Dispatch Centers. These are energy-rich areas, states, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. In Western region, energy-rich states are Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh. So their respective state load dispatch center and integration with Western Regional Load Dispatch Centers, which is at Mumbai. And third one is Renewable Energy Management Project Centers in Northern Grid. They are, Rajasthan is the most rich renewable energy state, and its load dispatch center is integrated with regional load dispatch centers, and all these are integrated with national load dispatch centers. So this is the overall backbone of our energy management system. Now, with this background, we are moving towards smart grids. You may already be aware that Government of India launched in the year 2000, if I recall well, 2015, the smart energy grid projects in different places of our country. Their communication is 100% digital. Equipments are all latest digital, and demand is huge. Now, this is one of the lifelong experience. I'm sure you may all remember. It happened on 5th April 2020, when our Prime Minister, when COVID was coming up, gave a call asking our citizens, pan-India, to switch off lights for 9 minutes. And during this period, this is the country level, our grid behavior. So in this period, the load which was operating at 120 gigawatt dropped to just 88 gigawatt, 87 gigawatt, dropped by 32 gigawatt. This was so beautifully maintained and managed that there was no interruption anywhere at all. And our overall digital backbone responded much better than what was predicted. So digital is playing a big role. These are all points, different centers. Here we can observe that system availability, which reflects the sustainability, is 99.86%. There are standby everywhere. Does not mean that 0.14% system is not available. There are standby everywhere. System availability overall as a whole is 99.86%. And we are managing our overall energy systems so well that nowhere any category of consumer is experiencing the shortage of electricity. Data centers, they are increasing in numbers day by day, and India has appeared among the prominent has appeared as a country having prominently data centers. These are the data centers coming somewhere nearby to your place only in southern India, Chennai, and there is a tremendous growth during last 2 years. Capacity is doubling of data centers. So that means data centers increasingly are taking data central stage, and data science, artificial intelligence are the backbone of our every facets of life and economy. Nothing is going to practically happen without data science. So with all these developments, now robots are being deployed, making use of artificial intelligence and data science to gather, analyze data, and optimize the maintenance duration, improve the availability, and optimize the costs. These are robots based on data analysis. If required, they are deployed to carry out the maintenance without human being involved there, other than the controls of robots driven by artificial intelligence and data science, and reports are generated automatically. So there are a lot of improvements. Greatly, data science is contributing in improving the overall scenario of our energy systems and reliability as a whole. Now, further system availability year after year, if you see, is improving. It has improved from 99.71% during 2018-19, last 5 years, to 99.86%. And it is happening because of extensive usage of data science and artificial intelligence. Not only it, system availability. You see, system availability, it is now overall seen reducing. So management of Indian electricity sector, there are different segments like policy making. It is supported by data science. The quality and quantum of data available, they leads to better decisions. Regulators functioning, system operators, generation, transmission, distribution, and then marketing of energy. I'm sure you may be aware, we have now 3 power exchanges in India, which are functioning independently, and they are contributing greatly in optimizing the cost of energy to various consumers, as well as increasing the availability of energy. So these are again different architectures which are 100% digital in nature. Digital science is playing big role. It is also supported in functioning beginning from remote terminal units up to National Load Dispatch Center. Again, this is I have mentioned earlier, Merit India portal, wherein our state-wise you can find the first portion is our India map. It is reflecting the average price of energy in different states. So this reflection wherever is available, it is because of data science and data centers being in action, remaining states, it is coming up. So the second India map is mostly is red and yellow in color, is reflecting what is the energy cost which has gone peak during the day. So average cost and the peak. All these are becoming a reality because of data science being in backbone. Here is the National Load Dispatch Center centralized operation is in Delhi. Katwaria Sarai is area nearby to somewhere IIT Delhi only. There is our National Load Dispatch Center, and things are happening well supported with data centers in background, and applications based on data science and artificial intelligence. These are a regional load dispatch center. This is at western region. This is at southern region. You see how beautifully things are now developed, making use of data science. This is the state load dispatch center which has come up in Maharashtra. You see how beautifully it is depicting the digital values for every station whatsoever are operating in Maharashtra as a whole, and various consumers, how much energy they were supposed to draw and how much actually they are drawing. So everything is digitally available there. Deviations are monitored automatically and decisions are taken then and there. This is for Kerala State Load Dispatch Center. And again, same thing as is happening in Maharashtra is also happening in Kerala. And at this is a regional management committee, which in fact based on available data and the predictions done based on data science and artificial intelligence, refines the policies and introduces to keep pace with time. This is again Western Region Load Dispatch Center, wherein state-wise overall scenario is available. Likewise, for state, every station-wise scenario is available. So here we comes a typical day load curve. You see how our requirement at national level is varying. Night lean is the least, and evening peak is shown as the most, with a morning peak in between and day lean a more than night lean. That means we are getting energy. We do not feel the deviation at our level, but at state level, city level, national level, the deviations are continuing in milliseconds. And data centers, data science, they are playing big role in backbone in maintaining the sustainability of systems, both generating sources behavior is a time of the day dependent, like solar energy is available during the daytime. Here, yellow one, or you may be looking at a golden one, is the solar energy pattern availability. Likewise, different sources, they behave. The blue one is wind energy. So solar and wind, they are prominent renewable energy sources. They need to be instantaneously absorbed to 100%. And the remaining requirement of grid is to be instantaneously met with the fossil fuels or dirty fuel-based generation, thereby maintaining a sustainability has become a reality because of the applications developed and being updated continually, making use of data and data science, keeping data centers in the backbone. So these are the various patterns. You see, nothing is static. Everything together keeps changing, and maintaining and managing such a system, aiming and achieving the overall economy and improving the environmental ecosystems is a great challenge, which is becoming smooth and practically a reality with increasing time and increasing penetration of data science. So here are some, again, for reflections. First 6 months of the year, what grid as a whole has experienced on monthly basis, minimum, maximum, average loads, and the range under which they have varied. We observe here May 2024, variation was 43 gigawatt, which is the maximum recorded this year, followed by March and June 39.8 and March 39.1 gigawatt. Now, we are not only looking our country, we are going in fact beyond. We have already installed one power station in Bangladesh, 2 units of 660 megawatt, which are operating, is a reality, and we are making Sark energy grid a reality. So integrating South Indian countries together is becoming a reality because of the backbone being digital, the data science, along with artificial intelligence. And India is only taking the lead and bringing these countries together. Earlier, Pakistan was also integrated, but for political reasons, India have isolated Pakistan. All other countries, along with India, they are being managed by India. So these are the SAARC member countries. Keeping away Pakistan, we are working as a integrated South Asian grid. Sri Lanka now is being integrated with India. Agreement is already there and execution is taking up. G20 outcome, what I mentioned earlier, India, Middle East, Europe corridor is bringing in energy grid, integrating India with UAE, Sudan, Israel, Jordan, and then going further to European continent, Italy, France, Germany, and various other countries. So taking advantage of one earth, one sun, and one grid is going to greatly improve the usage of renewables energy. So this is the motive behind going for it. Solar mission has played a big role. One sun, one world, and one grid is progressing well. This is architecture of global energy grid, which will be measuring 180,000 kilometers. If you recall, I have already mentioned that our Indian grid is 435,000 kilometers. So what we are operating and managing in that grid, which will be global in nature, will be almost 40% of what we are already managing. So India is taking lead in various aspects, and every coming up aspect is increasing the scope and opportunities for data science and its application. Solar floating system, it was experimented with 1 megawatt capacity, became reality in the year 2017-19 during 2 years.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Like we are close to 8:30 p.m. It would be really great if you can conclude your session because we have a lot of questions from the learners as well. They want to ask you.
Sure. Okay. So this is how solar floating systems have escalated in a scale. In a period of less than 5 years, it has enhanced in capacity from 1 megawatt. Now, next one and largest one is coming up at 600 megawatt. So here we find 100 megawatt is already operational at Ramagundam. Now 600 megawatt is coming at Omkareshwar Dam on River Narmada in Madhya Pradesh. This is world largest solar power station in India. World largest is Vadla Solar Park, is 2245 megawatt. All these are presenting big opportunities for data science. Solar wind hybrid renewable energy complex, which is in Rajasthan, 1,110 megawatt, having solar and wind integrated for the first time. Now this field is further multiplying and opening up in space. This is a reservoir floating solar plant, what we have seen earlier, and Ramagundam with 100 megawatt is the best use of a water body in a power station. This is a backwater sea. That is a sea backwater in Kerala. So here in 102 megawatt floating solar system has come and is operational. So likewise, a lot of things are happening. Now, solar pumping distributed generation systems. Solar pumps been there earlier, but they were stand-alone. As we know, solar pumps are not running for 7 days and during the day as a whole. Now they are all being integrated with our energy grid. And data science is going and is playing a big role. So we are going to have millions of energy generating points along with rooftop also. Now rooftops are also being integrated with our energy grids. So with all these learnings and backgrounds, International Solar Alliance is a big opportunity for, I will say, engineers community as a whole and a data science professional in focus to be ready and exploit ever increasing opportunities. This is a new way of looking on energy. Up to now, we have static nuclear reactors and very less in numbers. Our capacity is 8180 megawatt only. Now, government has come out with National Nuclear Mission and modular, that is ready to install nuclear reactors up to capacity of beginning with 10 megawatt. They are shortly being rolled out. They will be installed individually in different industries. This comes offshore wind farms. Here we see capacity which used to be kilowatt has reached to 15 megawatt, and we have wind potential of 695 gigawatt. Right now we are using 46 gigawatt as a whole. More than double is potential of offshore wind in India, as our coastal line measures 7,600 kilometers, and overall potential is tremendous. For want of time, I am running fast. These are this is a 1,500 megawatt wind farm in Kanyakumari vicinity in Tamil Nadu. So likewise, offshore wind is very popular in Europe and USA. China has of late taken up. Now India is venturing into in a big scale. New opportunities are coming in waves energy, and you will all be happy to know that IIT Madras, your campus, have contributed in this field, and one joint study was carried out by IIT Madras and CRISIL. CRISIL is Credit Rating Information Services of our country. They have, in fact, worked out and estimated wave energy technologies would require about 10 gigawatt of cumulative capacity to become cost competitive, and potential is about 60 gigawatt. So IIT Madras, your R&D group, is also contributing in this field very well. Another way is tidal energy. And tidal energy, we know tides, they are always there in the sea, and technologies are now coming up to exploit this energy. So we have an offshore wind along with tidal and wave energy. Now this is a fantastic development which will not become a reality anywhere without data science. Satellite power grid transmit power globally. So it's a huge solar setup. In center, we find on a post a globe, white in color, and through this globe, energy will be transmitted in space, and from there, it can be directed using data science anywhere. So this is Asia's largest energy storage system, wherein data science is playing a big role and is becoming a reality, all because of artificial intelligence and data science. Smart city missions, I'm closing the latest one and most modern, which began with zero ground, is a gift city in Gandhinagar. So this is coming as the ultra modern latest city, and this is going to be a model, and many cities will follow like this. So this is going to be a commercial hub matching or better than Singapore. Our Indian smart city project is spread countrywide at different levels in 100 cities. I'm sure 100 smart cities are in different stages. They all are targeted to be completed by 2025. In background remains, nothing happens without data science. So every stage is supported and led by data science. And whatever we talk, things are now turning towards artificial intelligence and data science, whether we talk of energy savings, energy management, energy generation, processes and practices, efficiency and effectiveness, backbone and background remains through smart technologies which are digital in nature, powered and driven by data science. So this is a smart transportation system. It is becoming a reality in our country also. In near future, we will find, and this is again virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and data science put together, which is making great things happening. I am closing here again, remembering the great man behind IIT Madras. Maybe you all are aware, the ever biggest contribution or donation is done by your own alumni. The largest single most donation received by only institution in our country, he donated rupees 228 crores, which is highest ever received by any institution and he is your distinguished alumni, Dr. Krishna Chibukula. I wish along with his name, some infrastructure is named in your campus. With this background, the greatest sin is to think that we are weak. Our ever spiritual great saint Swami Vivekananda ji calls us all to arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is achieved. And goal is what? Renewable synergy and sustainability driven and managed by data science. Thank you, everyone. Let's ride the wave and make our India proud. Thank you. Welcome for questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was a very informative session. Now you can quickly move to the questions that are asked in the chat. And after that, one by one, the learners can raise their hand and ask their questions verbally also. So, sir, starting with the questions, the first question is asked by Rushil Bhatnagar. He wants to ask that how is AI and data science driving sustainable development in terms of system engineering and infrastructure?
Perfect. So as far as sustainable development is the issue, I have already mentioned there are 17 sustainable development goals. And along with each goal, I have also mentioned how many projects are taken up to now and during year 2024 as well. All these projects are becoming a reality due to processes and practices implemented under the aegis of national and global governments. And data science remain in background, may not be driving right now to that extent, but with time, scope is increasing day by day. So data science applications, we have seen the number of data centers. Globally, they are increasing every day and every week, I will say, in numbers, because there is requirement of data ever increasing, more so in our country. So sustainable development, backbone, driving force remains the data science.
Great, sir. So another question is by Nivedita. She is asking, how is Sustain Eco contributing to sustainable and renewable energy efforts, given the existing governmental policies in place?
Great. See, I myself is, in fact, first batch certified energy auditor. BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, came into being in year 2000. Their motive was to improve the energy efficiency of systems, equipments, and processes in our country. So they began with basically launching different projects in partnership initially with international bodies, and in-house the first they introduced the examination for certification of practicing energy professionals as energy managers to become core contact and communication center in major industries, and energy auditors to assess the functioning of overall organization as a whole as energy auditors. So energy managers and energy auditors, now we have more than 30,000 in numbers. I am from the first batch where less than 1,500 countrywide executives, professionals working in various segments of our energy preferred. So with this experience and my working in sustainability, I was general manager in corporate sustainable development in NTPC. I'm sure you all may be aware that NTPC, which in fact have taken worth during emergency period in 1975, precisely 7th November 1975, is globally the topmost rated independent power producer. So heading the Sustainable Development Department in such an organization which is funded by various government gave me tremendous opportunities to involve global big four in our organizational working focused on sustainability. And that experience I am making use of sharing with organizations and the institutions countrywide. In fact, I have already participated in more than 20 international conferences. So my experience, I am attempting to give back to society, organizations, and institutions, aiming on improving the sustainability and ecosystem. That's why the organization is named as SustainCo.
Great, sir. So I guess we can move on the verbal questions as we are a little short on the time.
Sure. Welcome.
Deveshu, you can ask your question.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much, sir, for taking this wonderful session and showing the statistics of the energy consumption and all the things. I want to ask, in your organization, as you said, Sustainaco, and in your working experience, which models, is it Optuna, Grid, Search CV, or the HyperOpt were used for the fine-tuning or hyper-tuning of the sustainable models, or is it entirely something else to make it more reliable?
See, as I have mentioned, our working basically is guided by the international frameworks. So international frameworks, basis backbone remains GRI, Global Reporting Initiative, which is a United Nations framework on sustainability. It encompasses every aspect of business and life elements. That being the backbone, and then the ESG, environmental, social, and governance framework. There are many numbers, prominent being SBSB and CDP. Government of India have already launched its own customized, much better model than anyone globally as BRSR, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting, which aims on 3 P's, that is planet, people, and organizational prosperity. So we are working on hybrid mode, addressing the requirement of all the stakeholders globally.
But sir, my exact question was that what algorithm or model is Sustainaco using in while creating the statistics that you have showed? Is it the SOTA algorithm base or any other algorithm or the fine tuning?
In fact, there are people behind me. I just put up my requirements to bring out, they work upon, and then I customize them.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Right?
Rushil, you can unmute yourself and go ahead with your question.
A very good evening to sir and all, and it was
Very
a
good
really
evening.
informative session. Thank you so much, sir. I have a question regarding. I have actually two small questions.
Yeah.
One of which is based on engineering and technicals. Basically, I just want to ask, how is the governance and the systems? How are we going? What direction are we going towards with respect to governance and the systems that need to be regulated for sustainability in the future? Because in the 2010s, as you mentioned, the damage is already done, and we can only prevent the damage that has to be done in 2040, for example. So, how are we as a society working towards the better governance systems for sustainability, for example, carbon credits and microeconomies and rural areas, etc. Can you
Great.
elaborate on that, sir?
Yeah, sure. See, if we look into the framework of GRI or ESG or BRSR, anyone, they are focusing on three main pillars: environment, society, and the governance. So your point is about governance. Without effective and efficient governance, first two will not become a reality, which has suffered the most. They are environment and society. We have also already seen their effects and impacts along with causes. Right? Now, if we look into the model itself, there is 50% weightage for governance pillar. As I have said, that without effective and efficient and timely decisions taken by governance, things will not be happening on ground, will not be bringing a visible and sustainable change. So there is a inbuilt provision in governance pillar itself that a board level committee of organization board member, one of the board member is to head that committee, and board level committee is responsible for implementation of the BRSR and reporting it on yearly basis. Organizations themselves, for example, NTPC normally carry out minimum 6 board meetings, that is once in 2 months. In addition to time-bound specific requirements, many meetings are also organized. So this remains the driving force. Now, in board meeting, the prominent point is sustainability. More so in organization which are energy-based like NTPC, because we are to transit from dirty fuels, we are transitioning, but the space of transition is in synonymous with keeping a pace with government internal targets and international commitments. So these our this internal committees, which are board level committees, they are responsible for driving the sustainability and reporting to global community. Have I answered the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I also have one follow-up question. Uh, so, someone asked how Sustain Eco is contributing to sustainable and renewable energy efforts, given the existing governmental, policies in place. I also want to add something to that, and then you may answer. How is Sustain Eco also taking advantage of the international relations that you have mentioned? For example, the grid between UAE until Europe. How is Sustain Eco taking advantage or planning to take advantage of the international relations to take sustainability to a global level? So these are the questions that I wanted to ask.
Okay. So if very specific you are asking to my organization as Sustain Eco, my working remains up to sharing the experiences and knowledge. I am not taking up any physical project to execute. All right. In addition, there are organizations which keep on inviting from time to time. I am already delivering week-long programs, every day 4 lectures, each of 90 minutes, and 6 days a week. So I delivered 24 lectures program on sustainability and ecosystems to practicing experienced corporate professionals. In institutions, these programs are mostly limited up to 90 minutes. Maximum, including question answer, goes up to 2 hours. But in a structured way, I am helping organizations in a state sector and organizations like NTPC, ONGC, and prominent PSUs nationally. That's my
Okay,
scope
sir,
of
thank you.
working. All right.
Thank you for that insightful answer, sir. Shamshan, you can go ahead with your question quickly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, come on, please.
So, sir, most of what you have discussed today has been related to governmental organizations or PSUs. do you think there is scope for other private organizations or even social entrepreneurs in the sector?
Yes. So, have you finished your question?
I was just asking, can we contribute to sustainable development without actually taking up a governmental job?
Definitely. See,
Something in the private sector
yes,
or
yes, yes.
as an entrepreneur?
Yes. See, as an entrepreneur, there is a limitless scope for bringing and coming up as own consulting organization. In India, in sustainability, if we see last 3 years, there are, I can say, more than 5,000 consultancy organizations which are focusing on sustainability. As per government legislation, which was introduced by Government of India, Ministry of Corporate Affairs is, in fact, keeping a track of it. Stock exchange listed 1,000 organizations, top organizations. They are to mandatorily report their performance on BRSR framework, and there is a structured standard template available on Ministry of Corporate Affairs website, which are to be completed and submitted as we submit our income tax return to income tax department. All organizations which are among the basket of stock exchange listed top 1,000 organization, whether they are corporate in government sector or private sector or any sector for that matter. So all sectors, irrespective of ownership, listed on exchange right now, top thousands are to do. Now, scope as per model is not limiting to them only. Scope as per model extends to forward and backward suppliers, service providers, and customers. So, for example, if I take, say, example of NTPC, NTPC, in fact, is procuring coal from Coal India Limited, is also partly meeting it with our own requirement by having own coal mines as subsequent to liberalization of coal mining sector. And then NTPC is having a vendor base of plus 20,000 vendors spread over countrywide, which are major industries, MSMEs, and local entrepreneurs, as well as service providers. So as NTPC organization, responsibility of using sustainable supply chain, responsibility towards environment and societal pillars extends to service providers and suppliers as well as towards the customers. So to make it a reality, NTPC is organizing every year programs for stakeholders on these issues, engaging our own internal resources and engaging the big four. They are KPMG, Deloitte, EY, and PwC. So NTPC is attempting to make this basket bigger and bigger and cover more and more stakeholders so that sustainability do not remain limited within the boundary of NTPC, but it becomes a national and international basket.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Are you satisfied?
Yes, sir. So, how would one go about acquiring the skills needed for such a position, like an auditor or a compliance officer?
Great. To begin with, you can visit 3-4 websites. I will just name, you can note down. The first one is Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So there is one institution within the MCA who are from time to time scheduling virtual programs as well as in-person physical programs on these topics. So that is the best one, biggest one, and the government organization. And in fact, that is the nodal agency for implementation of sustainability framework in our country, right? Second one is TERI, TERI, that is Tata organization in New Delhi, Basant, Bihar. And that is TERI SAS, School of Advanced Studies. They are also having dedicated specific programs on sustainability. There is other one, CII, Confederation of Indian Industry. So they have sustainability center and wing in CII Delhi. You can visit their site. They also come up with short-term certification programs on all these issues. And there are a number of universities which has come up, including IIMs. IIM Lucknow became the first one introducing a MBA program in sustainability almost a decade before. So if we talk now, there are many universities. One of the university have come up with the name of University of Sustainability. It is in Ankleshwar, Gujarat. So most of the universities have come up with a medium-term and long-term programs on sustainability and related areas. All right. So as
Okay, sir. Thank you
BEE,
very much.
as Bureau of Energy Efficiency is the nodal agency for energy auditors and energy managers, MCA is the nodal agency for sustainability. Right?
Okay.
Great, sir.
Come up.
I think if any other learners have any more questions, I would ask them to like kindly email sir. Sir's email is shared in the chat as we are already short on the time. So sorry for that. I would like to once again thank our esteemed speaker, Mr. Sushil Kumar Sharma, for sharing such an informative and insightful session on optimizing renewable energy with the use of data science. I would also like to thank IIC and my SPC members and volunteers for facilitating and helping me host this session so smoothly. And I think sir's session would help all of us, all the learners and me, motivate us to make use of data science and help and develop our environment in a more sustainable way. I think we can wrap this session now. Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Great.
thank you for
Thanks a lot, Mr. S, for your efforts, your planning and execution so smoothly and so well. I'm sure I have not wasted your single second. And whenever you feel, any one of you, whosoever connected today or even not connected, if you feel, you can contact me in person. I am mentoring professionals and students from Big Four and top institutions, including IIMs and IITs. So one-to-one, whenever you feel to contact me, don't hesitate. You are all welcome. Most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
All right. So taking off for the day.
Yes,
We
sir.
remain connected and network. Best wishes to everyone and bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Thanks a lot. It was
Right. Thank you.